Good to have you with us. Well, first this hour, it comes at a crucial time in the war with Ukraine on the back foot as Russian troops advance. The French President says Paris is to help train Ukrainian forces and will transfer Mirage 2000 fighter jets to Kyiv. Emmanuel Macron making the announcement during an interview on French television last night without specifying how many jets would be delivered. He will discuss the deal in detail when he hosts President Zelensky at the Elysee later on Friday. Well, for more on the view from Kyiv, let's cross live now to our Ukraine correspondent. Gulliver Cragg is standing by for us. Firstly, then, Gulliver, how much difference do you think this is actually going to make on the ground in Ukraine? What is the view there?
Well, how much difference it makes is going to depend in large part on how many of these planes France actually sends. Early reports were suggesting it would only be 5 of them, but there's now a lot of speculation on the Ukrainian internet anyway that France may be preparing to announce today that it will be sending all 27 of the Mirages that it has to Ukraine. That's obviously quite a significant number. Ukrainian soldiers that I've spoken to in recent months have all pretty much unanimously said that even a small number of fighter jets would make quite a big difference in giving them the air cover that they need for operations such as building defences closer to the border with Russia, such as taking down the Russian planes that have been lately dropping these guided aerial bombs on cities like Kharkiv and elsewhere in Kharkiv region. They've generally been talking about the American F-16s, which are expected, supplied by various countries, to be making their appearance on the Ukrainian battlefield as early as this summer. For the French Mirages, it's going to take longer because they need 5 months apparently to train the pilots, but the Mirage and the F-16 are a comparable kind of fighter jet.
And Gulliver, President Zelensky, who'll be speaking in the French Parliament later before meeting Emmanuel Macron at the Elysee, are we expecting any major announcements, or did Macron tell us everything yesterday, as it were?
Well, Macron yesterday talked about training 4,500, I think it was, Ukrainian soldiers. So far, training programs organised by France and other allies of Ukraine have taken place outside of Ukraine on the territory of those countries. There's been lots and lots of speculation that France may now be preparing to officially send a training mission to Ukraine. It's not really just a training mission. People from the French armed forces would be in Ukraine, not just to train Ukrainian soldiers, but also to give them logistical support, health care, repairing equipment, all kinds of sort of backup support missions that would mean that more Ukrainian experienced officers and soldiers would be freed up to keep fighting on the battlefield rather than doing those support kind of activities. If it is announced, and I mean, there were diplomatic sources saying a few days ago that it was all but certain. More recently, the Elysee has been sort of casting a little bit more doubt on whether or not it's really going to be announced like that, or whether in fact Macron will say they've decided to do this, keep doing this outside of Ukraine. But if it is announced, then it's definitely a symbolically very, very important step in terms of a Western ally of Ukraine's recognition of its involvement in the war and of its situation of being, if not at war with Russia, then certainly in opposition to Russia. And even if the numbers are not very big and the practical impact on the battlefield will not be huge, I think that if that is announced this afternoon and the press conference is scheduled for 5:30, then that's a pretty big deal.
Gulliver, for now, thank you. That is our Ukraine correspondent, Gulliver Cragg, joining us.